All right, I'm doing a Puzzle Rust session on chess.com. The goal is survival, so just getting everything right. And there's no time limit, so we have all the time in the world, I think. Right now, these are all easy back rank mates. We just look for our checks and we'll be able to find them. This is a classic, right? This is also technically a back rank mate. Okay, now this is a ladder mate. And this is just a classic bishop and queen checkmate. Okay, this is the classic queen takes h7, queen takes h2 mate, but just on the other side. But after the king moves, do we have mate? We should, because we have bishop takes bishop. But this should still be the correct move. Okay, we have rook takes knight here. King back, knight mate. Okay, we have queen takes pawn, and then taking the rook for the back rank mate. Okay, we have queen takes pawn, and then this is the classic check away the king, and then queen sack for the rook to come for the back rank mate. Okay, then this one, we have this check. Then if he takes, then we check him, but then he's running away. If you check here, he takes here. He checks and he moves, then we take the queen. And if he check and he takes with the rook, then we can discover to attack the queen. And then when he takes our rook, we take the queen. So this is the correct move. Okay, check. We'll force the bishop back. Because if the queen goes back, then we pick up the rook. But we don't need to use our queen. We can use our bishop to check, and when the bishop blocks, we can take the bishop with our bishop, and the queen is forced to capture, and then the rook is now en prise. Okay, we're under check, so these are only two moves, is to stop the check, because our king can't move, and we can't capture the checking piece. So we'll definitely don't want to give a bishop, so the correct move must be for the queen to block. Okay, and now he's trying to bait our king away from protecting the queen, but we don't want to lose our queen for nothing. Take it back. And now this is just a simple mate in one. Okay, in this position we have this capture. We also have this capture, and we don't have any checks in the position. And this knight is actually pinned, because when the knight moves away, we'll have another attacker on this bishop. So we'll have two attackers against white's one defender. So the correct move is to take this. And since our queen is under attack, we'll want to use the queen to capture the bishop. And then we'll catch her back. Okay, this queen is overloaded. It's protecting this rook as well as this knight. So we first take the rook to deflect the queen away from guarding the knight. And we can't take the knight first, because when the queen takes, the rook is actually also defending this. So the correct move is rook takes rook, and then taking the free knight. Okay, this pawn is pinned, so this check with the knight is actually mate in one. Okay, this is a classic pattern. Queen coming to h5 or h4, and then when the pawn blocks, it's not actually really protected because this pawn is pinned, so we can take it with our knight, and then we'll pick up the rook in the back, and then now we also pick up the extra knight. Okay, in this position we'll take the rook first to win the exchange, and then we push a2, and nothing can stop us from queening except the queen, which case will be a trade of queens, and we win the game. Okay, we can take this, we can check here, and we can also take the queen. So when we take the queen, that's check, so they must... Oh, we can't. Our rook is pinned. Oh, so actually we can just take queen takes bishop, and if our rook takes back our queen, then we just take their queen, and their king takes, and then we pick up the rook, and then we've won a bishop. So taking the queen back first with check, and then picking up the rook. Okay, we have two attackers on this knight, so it's actually a free piece. But is there better? Notably, we have knight takes pawn, and if the king moves, we pick up a queen. And if they do the easy move of capturing back, our queen can come back to give a check. In which case, if they block, we're probably mating them. We'll have too many pieces here. And if they move back, we'll have back rank mate. So this is the correct move. And then getting the queen in and the rook involved. And taking that. Okay, we have two attackers on this. And there's also this check. After this check, the king takes back. Our queen comes back to give the ladder mate. We check here. That's actually just checkmate. Okay, we're almost promoting. So if we push here, his only move is to stop the promotion. If he checks us, we can just take this pawn. And if he takes our bishop, we'll just queen. So in any case, he must go here. And then when we queen, he captures it back and we take back. And when this pushes, we're just in time to stop the promotion. Okay, his back rank is weak. Is there anything we can do about that? And answer is yes, there is. Takes, and rook forking back rank mate and the queen, and we'll win the game. Yeah, this king is really weak. It's only a scrape squares here, so if we can deliver a check on this diagonal, it'll be really good, and we can. And after that, the king moves here, and then this pawn can check. If I protected the rook, only move, and the queen can come down for the checkmate. Okay, this is a classic position. Rook sack, king here, and then we can deliver our queen there is checkmate. But how can we get our queen there is the question. We can go queen here and here, but that's a little slow. Wonder if we could take this knight. And then if they take back, then we can take back with our queen. And is there any way for him to stop this threat? He can try to move his rook. And that would stop it, because if we were to check, he would take. We check, he moves away. We check again, he's running. And he's out. So is there a better way? Do we have time to go queen here? If we go queen here, then they just move their knight back. Then that's stopping us. So we definitely should take this first. And when he takes back, then is the move to go queen over here. Is it queen takes pawn? What could it be? Oh, after check takes, if we were to put our queen onto that file, we'd be able to checkmate. But the problem is, our queen right now is blocked by everything. There is takes, but there's no follow-up. And right now we are down 2 pawns for knight, so we definitely want to win more than just a pawn, I would assume. Okay, if we takes, and then they move their rook somewhere, we could threaten the mate, but then they would just run. Oh, and then we could check. And then their king goes up, and then we pick up this rook, so that's good. And if we takes, and the rook goes this way, and then we threaten the mate, and then they're running, and we check their takes g7, their king shuffles back. I think that's their only hope, but that position should be good for us. I don't see anything else. Yeah, in this position, there doesn't seem to be anything other than queen takes e4 here. Okay, yeah, he's doing this approach, then here is threatening a skewer and it's unstoppable. Okay. Our rook is behind the pawns. These are trying to go this way. Oh, and we have back rank mate. Our king just needs to go here so that we don't get checked. And he also, not because we get checked, but because if we go here, then their white king can run away. But if we go here, running to g1 is useless. Okay, we need to try to stop white from queening, but we also want to queen. If we push h2, this rook has no way of stopping us. He could throw in a check, in which case we could just go down, and if he checks again, then we could block with our pawn, or we could even go down again. So that doesn't stop us from queening. So his only hope would be to queen himself. If he pushes a7, then we queen here, we stop a1, a8 queen, and if he pushes this pawn, we queen anyways, and our rook is stopping b8 queen. So the answer should just be to push h2. Okay, here we can threaten mate in 1, and there's no way for him to stop it. Okay, the king is out of squares except for e4. So he could throw in a pawn check, and then when he goes to e4, he is truly out of squares except for e5, and we fortunately have a queen that could come in and cover both e4 and e5 for the mate in 2, except our queen blocks, so it's a mate in 3. Okay, here, could give a check, and if their queen blocks, the bishop can deflect the king away from the protection of the queen. But if after this initial check, he goes to one of these squares, our queen can come in for a checkmate. Deflection, win the queen. And then here is queen takes f7, and then when the rook captures, he's pinned, so we actually have back rank mate. Okay, this king is out of squares, so as long as we check him, that is checkmate. Okay, this knight is threatening to take this pawn and protect his pawn. We could either take the pawn ourselves, in which case we'd be checked, and when our king goes out, then the knight is still alive and can stop us from promoting, and this is lost for us if the white king is here. So perhaps the only move is to push g4 ourselves, and when they take, then this pawn is ready to go. Okay, this bishop's actually pinned. We take it, he takes it, we can take this rook, and then when the king goes up, we take another rook, so we have 2 rooks and a knight for a queen. That should be a winning position. So we have a fork here, but we also don't want to lose our bishop, so we could first take the knight with check, and then land the fork, and then we would just be up a rook. Okay, this king is out of square, so if we could put him in check, we're winning. And this, we're actually under check ourselves. So the answer is king f7, and then we're threatening rook check, forced to capture, and we capture with discover check, and that's just a back rank mate. Our kings protect these 2 squares, our pawn protects that square, and he has no way to stop it. Okay, we have back rank checks, because it only go up. Okay. After he goes up, we can't check back because this rook covers this square. But we could go rook here and have a mate in 1 threat. But that does allow him to check us. And then when we go here, he doesn't have any more checks. So how would he run out of the mate? We'd go here. So check here, threaten mate in 1. Oh, that's not even mate in 1 because he could go to h6. What else is there? Check does attack the rook, but I don't know if it helps. And we check, takes. It's just a simple trade of rooks, so it's not entirely beneficial. Is there any way to get that? He also has a threat right now to win our queen, so we can't. We must respond to that, if anything. Oh, but it doesn't win our queen because we have rook to c2 blocking. But we don't want to trade rooks. We want him to win some material. We check. He's able to run up. And then we don't really have any threats. Only threat I could see is rook here. But queen check. King runs out. And if queen check here, king also runs out. And we're also getting checked ourselves. Are there any threats we could make? There doesn't seem to be any threats either. This pawn push doesn't do anything because he could just take it with check. I'm guessing the move has to be queen check, because there's simply nothing else in the position. And attacking this pawn means nothing because his queen's already defending it. And pushing this is still not good because rook captures it for free. So if the rook goes to c8, I don't see anything else. Check move. And what could he do? Let's just say well, does he have a move? What if he goes like queen here? Centralize the queen? Threaten to check us, and then when we move back, checkmate. So if he checks us, we move here, and queen goes here. We could check him once to force the king out. And then check him again. Force him out again. And then check him again. And then goes there, and then we have mate. Okay, but what if he doesn't move his rook? What if he just moves his queen? And we don't have our king ready here. Then does checking still work? If check, then king goes up. Okay, king goes up. And then check here, king goes up again. And then check here, and then king takes, we have mate. And if king goes back, then we check this way, and then we have mate. I don't know. I only see rook c8 here. And here we definitely go back forward so that we don't get checked. And if we go here, then he has definitely mating us. So we must go to g3. Okay, and they just sacked their queen. Okay, we calculated all that. Hopefully it was correct because they had to sack their queen. Okay, now we're covering this. We're covering this. This is undefended. I see one check here. If our king goes up, then we can do check. If the king goes back, we have mate. King takes this knight. We have check, and then he continues running. And then we have checkmate with our pawn. No, because he keeps running. He's out, so here doesn't work unless we go check. I think he goes back. We go check, then king up, check, king takes knight. We check here, king goes up, then this is mate. Because the knight will protect e5. Okay, and then, so this always leads to mate. So after this, then king takes knight. Then we have knight to f1, and that's mate. Checks the king, protects the rook, and the rook guards this way, and the bishop guards this way. So this is simply a forced mating sequence after rook takes g3. We check here, and then this is mate. Okay, this position, the king has one escape square, otherwise we're all covered. So we could actually just push f2. You can't take it because our rook defends it. And we're threatening the queen. And we're also threatening rook f3 is simply checkmate. Oh, it's not checkmate because the king can then move back. Okay, so if f2 queen stops us, because if we queen and he has to sack his queen, then we're just up a knight, so we win. So he stops us from queening, and then we check. We could check this way, and then he's forced to, well, he's not. Yeah, he's forced to take this pawn, and then we check again to skewer. Oh, but then his bishop blocks us. Okay, so we push here, stops us from queening. We check here, the king goes back, then we discover check, then he takes our bishop, and that's not good. Okay, what if we check here from now? Then if he goes up, we have mate. If he goes back, we check here. And then he has to go back. And then we take the bishop. And then we're threatening a skewer. Or he could sack his bishop, but then we get his queen, so that's not good. And if he check here, takes bishop, queen doesn't have any room to get off the back rank either, then his only move is king here to try to stop us. Then we can move our rook even further, and there's no way he's stopping this. I think that's the right sequence. Okay, yeah, he took our bishop. So now we definitely don't want to take this back, because then he's escaping with his queen. So we need to deliver skewer now and get the queen. Okay. This position, we could sack our bishop with check, and after takes, queen check, they just go back. Doesn't look like we have anything. So actually, what if we just threaten to mate mid in 1? They can't block us, we just take it. So his only move is to move his rook away, in which case we take here, and our knight protects f7 for the classic queen mate. The bishop. Okay, his knight is hanging. We also have a lot of double checks available to us. So we already sacked a piece. We're down a piece. He has 4, we have 3. So winning a piece is just equivalence. We definitely want to win more than a piece, ideally. We double check, he's forced to move. And our knight's also under attack right now. Oh, okay, so if we double check, it goes here. And we check this way, our bishop covers g1, so he'll be forced to capture our knight. And then in which case, we could discover check with our rook, and that is checkmate. Okay, his king has an escape square. So it looks like a mate might be infeasible, but he's also threatening to promote. We definitely need to just figure out a way to stop the promotion. If our knight checks here, oh no, we have a mating. Knight checks here, covers f7, so if it goes back, it's back rank mate. And if he goes up, it's actually covering the skip scores again, and it's just back rank mate on the 6th rank. Okay, if we check here, he pawn blocks. And then we go here, threatening the back rank mate, and his rook has no way to check us away, and queening doesn't do anything. Let's capture the rook, and then this is mate. Okay, we have a check on this h5, e8 diagonal. And when his king goes up, that's just mate, so king goes here, then we deliver this extra check first to push the king over, and then deliver the mate. Okay. I wonder if this doesn't work because his knight goes out and then he has this escape square, so we want to do the bishop check first. Okay, we see a free pawn here. We see this bishop catcher. Rook takes rook. We capture another rook. And then they could trade rooks, but then we just want a bishop. And if they don't respond to that and they just take this, then that's a free rook. So there should just be a discover attack. Pick up the hanging rook and capture that rook. Okay, I see a capture here. And then the king moves to any of these squares. That's a free rook. So I think that's just a free rook. Okay, he discovers me, so I will capture the bishop first. Okay, we could queen, but we want to go for queen. But if we go f7 now, and he stops us, well, it doesn't stop us, so we go king e7, and then he can't stop us. But he goes check first to distract us, and then he goes king g7. Then our king comes back to try and stop it. Then he goes to f8, then we waste the tempo here, and then they're forced out. And we can't move our king first, because then this bishop just gets onto the diagonal. So we must push now, this, here, spend the pawn, waste the tempo. Okay, our queen's under attack. We could take this knight with check. And after we take the knight with check, we can pick up the queen. I think that's it. Yeah. He doesn't have any checkmate threats. Okay, that was incorrect. He doesn't have checkmate threats, but maybe it's just not enough material for the win. I'm not sure. Okay, let's focus harder on this one. He's threatening mate in one, so we need to respond in kind. Need a check. That's a check. But if their queen takes, they're still threatening mate with the bishop and rook. We ideally need to just stop this diagonal then. The only way I see either rook block or knight block. Rook block, they remove the defender, and then they're coming in anyways. So our only move seems to be knight block. We also have pawn block, but then that opens this diagonal. So they could check us here. And then when we go up, I think they're still crashing down. Yeah. So knight block might be the only move here. Okay, then we just take it. Now he's threatening mate again. And now that will win our queen. So perhaps we need to do f6. And then if he pawn takes, then our king is out. If he bishop takes, then we sack the queen for the bishop, and then takes. And then we capture this bishop, and we're up a piece. And after here, he doesn't have this check because our knight can pick it up. Okay. We have captures, which is check. And if we don't check, he has mate in one. We have one more check here. If we do the knight check, then the king goes to h6. We have no more checks, so we're getting mated. We're down a queen. We have to mate him. So after this check here, that's mate. After here, that's also mate. But after here, it's a little tricky. We have a discovery, but that lets him get out. For check, king g8 could take that, goes out. Knight check. Rook takes f7, king g8. Discover check this way. And then his king could shuffle again. So that doesn't really work, because then if we do this knight check, then his king can hide on h6. f6. So after rook takes must be the first right move. Let's just do it. Okay. Capture this way. He's forced here. We have a check here, but then he's here. We have another check, but then he's out. Okay, the other alternative is we check this way. King moves out. We check here, and checkmate. Knight covers these, and bishop covers the rook. That should be the right maneuver. Check, check. Okay. You have a knight fork here to protect that and fork these, but that doesn't seem to be winning any material. After this, he could check us. Then we're definitely winning material. But after this, if he just does a calm move, moving here to protect the bishop, we have takes, and then queen forking the king and knight. And if the knight blocks, we just attack the pin piece of one piece. Okay. We take this, takes, that diagonal is forever stuck. So the move could be pawn to e6, in which case we're threatening bishop takes pawn. If king moves, here would win the queen. Same for bishop takes. Still do the same thing. Takes, wins the queen. So only hope might be pawn takes pawn, in which case we can do rook g1 to threaten mate, and if the rook comes to stop the mate, then now we have two attackers here. Defender. Threaten mate, and yeah, he has to sacrifice his queen or else he's mated. Okay, we have rook to b7, which threatens queen takes pawn takes queen, rook check, and rook mate. The king is smothered by his own rook. If we go rook here, and if he tries to defend this pawn, we takes, and he's smothered anyways. And if he tries to check us, he runs out of checks. And if a rook moves this way, we can also just move our queen here and threaten the mate in one, and it's unstoppable. Yeah, so after this, I don't see any way for him to defend this pawn. Now we get to move here. If we go here, then his bishop can come back. But we still take anyways, takes, and that's mate. Yeah, there's no way to stop this. Okay, that was wrong. So there was a way to stop. Oh, yes, queen takes f3. I did not see that. Okay. We have check here, rook block. And then we have rook takes bishop. Or we have rook takes bishop. Well, no. Rook here, rook block, rook takes this rook. And we're toast. If here, and take this bishop, then he has this move, pinning us. Wait, rook takes rook first, and after king takes rook. Doesn't look like we have anything after that. We take this bishop. If you take this bishop, rook takes rook. We can check him. And his king goes up. And then we pick up this bishop. But in that case, we gave up a rook for 2 pieces. And we still wouldn't be up a material. So there should be something stronger. Okay, so this check looks really good. And after rook block, what do we have next? Is the question. If it's rook takes bishop, then they do rook takes rook. And after rook takes rook, do we have anything? Check. King up. It's a hanging rook. So maybe they go here instead. We take. That's not a hanging rook anymore. Oh. Knight here would be a fork if the king is on d1 somehow. So if we check here, and they come here, takes, but our rook is on f2. If we go check, then their queen comes back. After rook check, rook block, rook takes bishop, rook takes rook. Rook check, king up, defend the rook. Takes, the king is out, and we're down a piece. It's got to be rook check. Rook takes rook, king takes rook, there's nothing. But if rook takes bishop first, and rook takes rook, and this check is never possible. I'm going to go with rook check. Okay, yeah, he does block as expected. I was thinking we could take this bishop and then have checkmate. But the rook takes bishop, he's not obligated to take my rook back. He does this. Then I'm just pinned, and I lose my queen. And if I take, queen takes anyways. So I need to respond to this either with a check or with the removal of that bishop. But if I remove that bishop, he takes my rook. So if I check, the king must go here to defend the rook. King goes here, then we just win the rook. Now we're up the exchange, so we should be able to win the game. If we take this, and then the king take this, back here, here. Okay, what if it's rook here, and then bishop here? And then if we take it, we would have mate, but we're under check. So we would have to check him first. Then he takes, and then we lose our queen. Still, because the rook protects it. After rook takes rook, king takes rook, rook takes bishop. Oh. Yeah, if rook takes rook, king takes rook takes bishop. We're up the exchange. If queen takes rook, same thing. It should just be rook takes rook. Bishop. Nice. Okay, we see one check here. And then we push this. If they take the rook, we queen. And if they don't take the rook, they move our bishop here, for example. Then what? Check here. Here, stopping us. We could tickle the bishop. And the bishop doesn't have anywhere to go. Or it could go here, but then we can't take it because then the rook now defends. Check here, here, here. Attack bishop. If it blocks, we're definitely winning. Everywhere else hangs it. All these are bad for the bishop, but what if they slide back after attacking it? But check has got to be the first move. Okay. The check was the first move. And pushing looks like the strongest move. We can't try to throw a mate because he can just capture us. You're here. Oh, okay. What if we go push here, forcing bishop c3, rook c2, bishop b2 only move, and then rook to b4? No, but then there's bishop a3. And that pins us. And if we were to go push bishop c3, rook b3, then now you can go back to d2, and he's fine. Could even go rook c1, and he's fine. So push here, rook c2 only move, bishop b2. After bishop b2, then what? Can't even take it, because now they have two defenders. Okay, another option is rook c4 now. And the bishop has all these squares covered. So bishop a5 only move to stop mate in 1, or bishop g3. These would be the only moves after rook c4. In which case, can we then go rook c2 and then threaten checkmate? And I don't think that's stoppable. Here. Okay, now he checks us. I guess we just pick up the bishop. Okay. We have check takes. This rook is free. Rook takes rook. We change the order. Takes. Takes, that only wins a pawn. And if takes here, we're mating him. So we force rook takes bishop, and then we're up the exchange. So it's got to be this order. Oh, wait. Takes, check. There's also this bishop eyeing each other. So takes, rook takes rook. King here. Then what? Rook back? No, but winning the exchange isn't enough. We need to win more than exchange. So takes here. Queen takes rook. Then the queen is traded off either on d7 or on e8, and then we can win another bishop. That means we lost these two bishops, but then got a pawn, rook, and bishop. So it would be two rooks against, we would be up. It would have two pieces and the rook against our two rooks and a bishop. Yeah, so that should be the right order. So here we need to use queen to take and then force that trade and then win the extra bishop. Okay, here is check, but that knight guards it. So can we remove the defender first? If queen takes, it's mate. But if rook takes, we can check, then the king goes up. Check again, then the king goes up again. We have time to pick up the queen. Takes. Check here. Check here. In that position, it would be king, and we take the queen. And if they take back, we take the knight, but then they take a knight, then it's an exchange. Not good. But takes looks like the only course of action. Here. Then what if we take the queen immediately? then takes. They take our knight. Then we would be up a pawn at the end of that, but is that the killer blow? Queen takes knight, rook takes queen, rook check, king up. Rook takes queen. If rook takes rook, then knight takes rook. King takes rook. Pawn takes pawn. Rook takes pawn. It's just 3 against 3. That's nothing there. Okay. Are there any other options? If we don't remove this knight, there's no way for us to get to h1. If it's knight takes knight, they respond with their rook or queen taking. We haven't made it. But after knight takes knight, if they take our queen first, then do we have check? Because if we do this, they just take that and we're screwed. But after knight takes knight, rook takes queen, knight here. They go to these squares. Then we take the rook with check. And then they go back and we take the other rook. Or no, if they go back, then we skewer them. And then we're up a whole knight then in that line. So knight takes knight, rook takes queen. Knight here. If their king goes this way, then we use rook to take. If the king move again, we skewer them. So then in that case, they must use the rook to block. In which case we could knight takes rook. I think that's the winning line. But yeah, now it has to be rook takes rook. And skewer. Got it. All right. We have a check here. If they go here, that helps us. We get an extra check in. So let's just assume they go to g1 to begin with. We can't take this pawn because then that knight's hanging. Oh. But if we just check them here, they take, then we're up a queen. But they have this. But they don't have that because we have rook takes rook. And that rook takes bishop. So after check, they can't take this. They'll have to move their king. If they move it here, say they move it here, then we can't check. Okay. Take the queen, then bishop block. But in that case, we just take the bishop, they take the queen, and then we're up that whole knight because they didn't take it. So this has to be the right move. Take the queen, that, and our knight's out. We want to go to here or here is the question. If we go here, we're trapped there. We should go to e4. Okay, they're threatening rook takes knight. Let's respond with a check then. We have queen c4 check. We have rook h8. If queen c4, block we just take, king up, then our rook can check here, and we take that, king here, and then check here, or check here, check, one of those, then bishop out. Gotta be check here. If our king goes this way, then our rook's also in. Gotta do this. Gotta capture the free pawn, continue the checks. Then now it's the critical line. I think we have to sacrifice our rook for our queen to get in. No other checks otherwise. Okay, now, question, do we want to go here? Oh no, we should go here. Oh no, that covers that square. So if we check on f6, then the king's forced to go here or here. The king goes to h7, then we check on h6, the king goes up, then the bishop here, and that's crisscross applesauce. So if they go here first, then we check here first, and they go here, then it's also mate. So queen f6 is the move. Bishop check. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. We have check. We also have check. And we have check and check. These two just give up our queen, so it's probably wrong. Rook trade seems like the only logical one right now. And then king takes pawn. Afterwards is what matters, because like this one's also just losing our rook. Okay, so we trade our rooks on b1. They definitely take our pawn, otherwise we queen. So king's on f2, queen on b1. And then if we check, and their king goes up, then I think we can... Okay, if we check, there's either rook block or there's king up. I don't think king can go up, because then our queen comes in, and then we should be able to mate. So let's say they rook block instead. They rook block. Okay, takes, maybe it's queen check? Queen check? Well, this is the only move, let's just move it. Okay, now we have a bunch of queen checks, and we have a rook check. We also have this queen check. Our queen could go here, that would be great. Or here. But we could only go here, here, or here. If you go check and they stay on this diagonal, that's good. They're definitely gonna rook block, right? Check rook block. Check king back. Takes, there's nothing, right? Or here, rook block, takes, queen check, king back, pawn takes pawn, and then we're covering these two squares. I don't know if that's enough for the win. What else is there? Queen check, queen block, or check. Okay, queen check. If queen block, then no, then he's blocking everything, right? Nothing. Okay, there's also rook f8. I didn't see that. So now they can't block. If they go this way, then we're check here, check, and we're winning for sure. So after a check, they can only go this way. And then if he goes here, then we're winning the queen because he can't go back to protect it. And if he goes here, then we still go here. And he still can't go down. If he goes back, okay, we check, and then he goes here, then we check here, and he can never go on this diagonal because we have this. So then he has to go here, but then okay, then we can't really force him to this diagonal though. And then he'll just shuffle between these two. But this has to be the right move. Okay, so we don't even need to calculate that side. Oh, maybe it was just queen here still. Anyways, that's the right answer. Okay, king is kind of stuck here. You could take this and then check. What if we check here? Here. We check, king goes out. But then that rook's hanging because the knight is pinned. And if they take this, then we just check them first and then pick up the queen. But check here, then pick up rook. King continues to run away. Is there anything more decisive? What about checking this way? That can't be it. That's blocking everything. Check here, here. Check here. There's no way to stop this escape square. Also check here. Okay, if check here, king back, rook check here, and then king here. Oh wait, that's defended now. Not seeing anything better than here and then picking up the rook. As we go here, the king's just out already. Let's check here. Okay. Now I don't see anything better to pick up the rook, but they do just have a perpetual, right? Here, here. Check. Guess we can run away here. Not a perpetual. It is scary. But I don't see anything better than picking up this. Takes. They have too many defenders. And he is threatening this queen. I'll pick up the rook. Okay, only move. Yep. Okay, queen takes pawn would be a cool sack if we could have him rook teleporting. Well, none of these squares are actually good. We could take the knight. It takes. If we were to take the knight, we should use our pawn takes. And then takes. I think that's gotta be the move. Pawn takes knight. Pawn takes pawn. Queen here threatening the mate, but then rook block. But then check. Back. It's got to be pawn take knight. There's nothing else. If we just run with our queen, we're not winning anything. Just does knight takes bishop, right? Got to be taking it. How is it queen here, queen here? Both of these, rook takes pawn, bishop takes pawns, just sack the queen. We don't have anything. We don't have any compensation for it. We have one check, and that's it. So it's got to be queen here, threatening the mate if they take the bishop. Queen here, but rook block. After rook block, you can't even sack. This check leads to absolutely nothing. I'm not sure what to do after rook block. Maybe it's just queen here. And if takes, then we take back anyways. Or is it possibly stacking? Takes, then another check. Oh, but then they rook block. And then we don't have anything. I'm gonna say if they, yeah, they're. Yeah, I don't see anything better than queen back and recapturing the pawn. It doesn't look like queen g4 is working after rook g5. There is rook takes pawn to meet rook takes queen with rook takes rook, but I don't see the mate there. But maybe there is. Here, rook takes pawn. And then what if they queen here? And pawn here, and then pawn here. It's not looking good. Let's just do queen here. Okay, and then we pick up the pawn. Oh, it wasn't picking up the pawn? All right, well, that's enough for today. 61 on Puzzle Rush Survival.